Hello guys, good evening. How are you all? I'm back. Welcome to LegaLift. Aditya Ganapa. So let's start. So here is the difference between main idea and inference. Main idea is with respect to the author. Inference is always with respect to the reader. Main idea में topic around which the whole passage is built. Why is the passage written in the first place? Inference में it is the ability of the reader to read in between the lines and draw a conclusion. Main idea में direct statements may be made, but they are just part of the whole argument made. Inference, more than one inference can be drawn based on a given fact. Main idea, it should be wholesome, comprising of the larger part being spoken about. Inference, it is a conclusion drawn on the basis of given facts. It must stick to the passage. It must not disturb the main idea of the passage. Inference, yeah, main idea. Okay. So let's get back to the first passage. Where we live can affect the way we talk, whether it's the language we speak, how we pronounce certain words, or which words and phrases we are more inclined to use. A recent study published in Frontiers in Psychology alludes to that possibility. Lan Madison, an adjunct research professor in the Department of Linguistics at the University of New Mexico, who led the study, wanted to demonstrate the impact of our environment on the sound structures of the language of the languages we speak. Most of the properties of a language as it's spoken today are inherited from earlier stages of the same language. They are inherited from an older generation of speakers of the same language, but over longer periods of time. Spoken language do certainly change shape. Madison told organization. What we are looking are at these subtle changes over a period of time. The idea was to basically look for what kinds of correlations there are between these design features of sound systems of languages and the properties of the environment in which they are spoken. In pursuance of researchers gathered data on language and environmental factors, looking at things like humidity, altitude, temperature, precipitation, vegetation density in different parts of the world, and analyzing their influence on the languages spoken in these regions. This led them to study over 1,000 languages from around the world, spanning a timeline spread across 300 years. Lan went to great lengths to specifically build the linguistic data set to provide that geographic diversity. We tried to be intentional about making sure that we had languages in all environmental areas that are implicated in the potential development of these linguistic features, said Carl Benedict, Madison's co-author and the director of research data services at the College of University Libraries and Learning Sciences. The representation of a diversity of languages was scattered geographically over the widest possible range of global environments. As anticipated, the researchers were indeed able to find overarching patterns between the environment one resides in and the way they speak. Broadly, the four patterns that emerged from the data they analyzed were: first, in areas with high humidity and warm temperatures, people tend to use more vowels in their speech. Second, in regions of higher altitude, there was a marked tendency to use ejective consonants, also described as voiceless consonants, more frequently. Third, regions with higher humidity also boasted of complex tone structures in their language. Fourth, warm areas that received more rainfall were found to have fewer complex consonants in their languages. So let's go back to the questions. Which statement best captures the primary focus of the study led by Lan Madison? Option A. This study aimed to understand the historical evolution of languages over centuries. Option B. The primary goal was to explore the correlation between environmental factors and the sound structure of languages. C. The research was focused on the impact of altitude on the use of vowels in their speech. D. The study was designed to analyze the influence of vegetation density on language tonality. So here, the study's primary focus did not aim to understand the historical evolution of languages over centuries, but the impact of surroundings on the accent of an individual. We'll have to find out this. So option A is wrong. Option B, the primary goal was to explore the correlation between environmental factors and the sound structures of languages. If you see the passage, here is what Lan Madison is talking about. Okay, The main idea is to look for these subtle changes over a period of time, and correlations are between these design features of sound systems, of languages, and properties of environment in which they are spoken. So he tells that, so option B could be a right answer. So let us see. Option C can't be the right answer as it gives the result of the study but not the primary focus. The research was focused on the impact of altitude on the use of vowels and speech. And here it only speaks about altitude. But the study also includes humidity, temperature, precipitation, and all these environmental factors. So option C can't be the answer. Option D can't be the right answer as vegetation is part of the study but not but it's not focused on its entirety. The passage on its whole doesn't focus on vegetation density but also focuses on humidity, temperature, precipitation as we talked about. So option D can't be the answer. So by eliminating also we could select option B as an answer. So let us go to the next question. So option B is the right answer for this. Which of the following sentences from the passage is in the passive voice? Option A, Lan went to great lengths to specifically build the linguistic dataset. So first of all, passive voice and active voice are grammar, are the subjects of English grammar. So you need to go through English grammar basics such as nouns, pronouns, active voice, passive voice, adjectives, and prepositions, everything regarding English grammar. So go through basics as you know it, because it might come in CLAT examination. Last previous year papers also prove this, that a lot many questions of this kind has appeared in the CLAT examination. So be careful about this. So go through basics. Uh, so you'll find this in YouTube, and you could probably visit few websites in the Google. So you could that would help you to um, learn these basics. So option A, Lan went to great lengths to specifically build the linguistic dataset. So this can't be the right option. So basically passive voice is थोड़ा सा indirect होता है. So we have to find that option which is indirect, which is subtle, which is complex to understand in a way. Option A is direct, and option A is very straightforward. It just only took a sentence. The sentence was so direct. So option A can't be the right answer. Option B, the representation of a diversity of languages was scattered geographically. This also not the right answer. Option C, broadly, the four patterns that emerged from the data analyzed were no. Option D, a recent study published in Frontiers in Psychology alludes to that possibility. Yeah, option D is the right answer because a recent study was published in Frontiers in Psychology alludes to that possibility. We could say that after you go through these basics, you get to know what is passive voice, what is active voice. So you need to do it on your own. Take it as a homework and do it. So question 3, which of the so option D is the right answer for the second one. So question 3, which underlying assumption can be inferred about researchers' approach to gathering linguistic data? So here comes the assumption based question. So assumption basically refers to an additional piece of information that the passage would not provide, and when this is added to the passage, it perfectly joins without disturbing the main idea of the passage. So it depends upon the main idea only. First we need to get the main idea of the passage, and then we could do inference based and assumption based questions faster. So it only comes through practice. So practice very hard, and go through as many passages as you can with these kind of questions. You could probably find this uh, in few Google websites. You could go through that, or YouTube would help you. YouTube would help you do that. So this question may option A, they prioritize languages from regions with extreme environmental conditions to ensure stark linguistic contrasts. Nay, because option A talks about with extreme environmental conditions to ensure stark linguistic contrasts. So in the passage, it is said that, if we go through the passage again, it is said that we tried to be intentional about making sure that we had languages in all environmental areas. So in the option it is given that except with extreme environmental conditions, which is not given in the passage, it is irrelevant. So option A can't be the answer. Option B, the researchers focused only on languages that have undergone significant phonetic changes in the past century. No, the timeline actually spanned over 300 years. So option B can be eliminated on this basis. So you have to remember this, you have to stick to the passage, you have to read the questions carefully, you have to be able to eliminate the options carefully. So half of the thing is done after you do all these three, after you follow all these 3 points one by one. So try to practice that, and within, try to do the passage within 3 minutes and try to complete the questions within 2 minutes. That would help you to a very great extent in order for you to complete the question paper very quickly, because in the examination all you have to deal with all other kinds of stuff such as stress, anxiety, depression, everything. So that would help. Really, practice makes man perfect. So make sure that you practice more and more questions like these. So option A and B are eliminated. Option C, the linguistic dataset was intentionally diverse, aiming to cover a wide range of global environments. So option C could be the right answer. Let us see option D also. The study predominantly relied on languages that have extensive historical documentation available. This can't be the answer. So option C is the right answer. Question 4. According to the study, which environmental factor was not explicitly linked to a specific linguistic feature? Humidity and temperature influencing verbal usage. Yes, this has been given in the passage. So option A can't be the answer. Option B, altitude affecting the use of adjective consonants. Yes, in the passage it is given that in places of higher altitude, there is a marked tendency to have used mo more voiceless consonants, adjective consonants, also called. So option B eliminated. Option C, precipitation determining the complexity of consonants. Yeah, it is given that precipitation in areas of warm areas and higher rainfall, the people tend to use fewer complex consonants in their languages. So option C can't be the answer. So option D is the right answer. After eliminating all this, yes, vegetation density influencing tonal structure. This has not been mentioned in the passage. So option D is the right answer. Question 5. In the context of the passage, what does the word pervasive most closely mean? Here comes a vocab based question. Pervasive matlab throughout and wholesome holistically, and it could be felt everywhere. For example, COVID-19 is pervasive during the period 2020 to 2022. So let us see the options now. Limited to a specific region or area? No, it can't be the answer. Sporadically appearing and disappearing? No, it can't be the answer. Having a widespread influence or effect? Yeah, option C is the right answer. Option D, being of minor or negligible importance? No. So, question 5. Hope you're practicing vocab based questions also. Hope you are reading books 20 minutes a day in order to improve your vocabulary. So, do it, guys. Really, practice makes man perfect. Yeah, yes. Yeah, option C is the right answer. So, let's go back to passage 2 now. The nature of beauty is one of the most enduring and controversial themes in Western philosophy, and is with the nature of art, one of the two fundamental issues in the history of philosophical aesthetics. Beauty has traditionally been counted among the ultimate values, with goodness, truth, and justice. By the beginning of the 20th century, beauty was in decline as a subject of philosophical inquiry and also as a primary goal of the arts. However, there was revived interest in beauty and critique of the concept by the 1980s, particularly within feminist philosophy. Perhaps the most familiar basic issue in the theory of beauty is whether beauty is subjective, located in the eye of the beholder, or rather an objective feature of beautiful things. A pure version of either of these positions seems implausible for reasons we'll examine, and many attempts have been made to split the difference or incorporate insights of both subjectivist and objectivist accounts. Ancient and medieval accounts, for the most part, located beauty outside of anyone's particular experiences. Nevertheless, that beauty is subjective was also a commonplace from the time of sophists. However, if beauty is entirely subjective, that is, if anything that anyone holds to be or experiences as beautiful is beautiful, then it seems that the world has no meaning, or that we are not communicating anything when we call something beautiful, except perhaps an approving personal attitude. In addition, though different persons can of course have particular judgments, it is also obvious that our judgments coincide to a remarkable extent. It would be odd or perverse for any person to deny that a perfect rose or a dramatic sunset was beautiful, and it is possible actually to disagree or argue about whether something is beautiful, or to try to show that something is or try to show someone that something is beautiful, or learn from someone else why it is. On the other hand, it seems senseless to say that beauty has no connection to subjective response, or that it is entirely objective. That would seem to entail, for example, that a world with no perceivers could be beautiful or ugly, or perhaps that beauty could be detected by scientific instruments. Even if it could be, beauty would seem to be connected to a subjective response, and though we may argue that whether something is beautiful, the idea that one's experiences of beauty might be disqualified as simply inaccurate or false might arouse puzzlement as well as hostility. We often regard other people's taste, even when it differs from our own, as professionally entitled to some respect, as we may not, for example, in cases of moral, political, or factual opinions. All plausible accounts of beauty connected to a pleasurable or profound or loving response, even if they do not locate beauty purely in the eye of the beholder. So the second passage is quite complex to get, as you guys are not exposed to philosophical passages much. This is a philosophical passage. So let us try to answer the questions. What is the philosophical stance of author regarding the nature of beauty? Here in the passage, he, in the first para, he gives a glimpse of that beauty has been the subject of debate in the philosophical inquiry and in the um, domain of art. So it has been the most enduring and controversial themes in Western philosophy, as he says. So he gives an account whether uh, beauty should be subjective or objective. He sails down the boat on both the ideas. So there has been no conclusion given. We could say that he actually argued on both the sides, on part of beauty as a subjective concept, on part of beauty as an objective concept as well. So we could say that he is pluralist and integrative as per the question. These questions are often referred to as main idea questions. These questions also require a lot of practice to do. So, so objectivist option A, objectivist and absolutist. So he's not saying that, he's not on only one stance. He's taking two stances as well. He's looking at both the ideas at their different perspectives. So option A can't be the answer. Option B, subjectivist and relativist. So he doesn't say ki uh, the beauty is entirely subjective as well. In the passage, if we read it once again, pause the video and read the passage once again, as it is quite complex passage to get, philosophical passage. So option B can't be the right answer. Option C, pluralist and integrative. So he is embracing beauty at at both the instances. Uh, on one side, beauty is subjective. On one side, he's saying beauty is objective. He's taking both the stances. So he's pluralist and integrative. So option C is the right answer. No, he's not skeptical and nihilistic. So skeptical matlab doubtful. He's doubtful. So he's not doubtful. So option D can't be the right answer. Option C is the right answer. Question 2. The term implausible in the sentence. A pure version of either of these positions seems implausible. Most means implausible. The word implausible means unlikely or unbelievable. So if you don't get an answer for the word given, go to the context and read the line once or twice or thrice as the time persists in the examination hall. So try to improve your vocabulary, or else if you don't know the vocab question, don't try to skip it. Go to the question, go to the passage again and refer to it again. Understand the contextual meaning of it and try to answer it. Try to eliminate the options as early as possible. I mean, try as per your convenience and try to do it. You'll get it for sure. So option A is the right answer. Straight away answer, unlikely or unbelievable. So option A is the right answer. Question 3. The passage suggests that by the 1980s there was renewed interest in beauty, especially within scientific circles, artistic communities, feminist philosophy, historical contests. It's a direct question from the passage. Option C is the right answer, feminist philosophy, as it is given in the passage that by the 1980s, particularly within the Western philosophy, perhaps the most there was revived interest in beauty and critique of the concept by the 1980s, particularly within West feminist philosophy. So option C is the right answer for the question. Feminist philosophy. So let's go to option 4. Here again the vocab based question. The word coincide in the sentence, it is also obvious that our judgments coincide to a remarkable extent, could be replaced with collide. No, collide matlab to fight with each other. Their meanings differ from each other. So option A can't be the right answer. Option B, differ. So differ is also yet another synonym of collide. So option B is not the right answer. Option C, dispute. So a dispute is also not the right answer, as you know the meaning of dispute. So option D, correspond. Option D is the right answer. As we could eliminate all the three other options, option D is definitely the right answer. Yeah. So question 5, according to the passage, the answer that beauty has no connection to subjective response would be considered option A, puzzling, option B, predictable, option C, sensible, option D, unimportant. So option D, unimportant, is not the right answer because it is important. He is comparing both the concepts, objective and subjective as well. He is not able to take one stance at a time, so he analyzed both the stances, and the author himself could not give an explicit conclusion on it whether beauty is a subjective or an objective concept. So option D is not important. Option D is not can't be the right answer. Option C, sensible. Sensible is not the right answer. Option B, predictable. So when the author tends to give a complete conclusion to it, we can predict something. So here it is not the case. So option B is not the right answer. Option A could be the right answer. Yes, it's puzzling. Yeah, option A is the right answer. So let's get back to third passage now. Let's study third passage. Doctors have appeared in fiction throughout history, from Dr. Faustus, written in the 16th century, to more recent film adaptations in the 20th and 21st centuries. The familiarity of these characters will be profitably read and watched by both experienced and future doctors who want to reflect on the human condition, often so ably described by the established men and women of letters. Here, men and women of letters, here is an idiom given for you guys, which is part of the vocabulary. Man of letters or woman of letters, matlab, it regards to authors. It is equal to an author. So when I refer to somebody, uh, when I refer to some author, I could say that he is a man of letters, or she is a woman of letters. So I could say myself that Aditya Gunapa is a man of letters. So, matlab Aditya is an author. He writes much. Okay. So let's continue. The famous Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe was written at the end of the 16th century. Dr. Faustus was a dramatization of the Faust legend about a man with prodigious learning in all spheres of knowledge, including medicine, and a belief in immorality, who, due to his hubris and pact with the devil, Mephistopheles undergoes his own tragic demise and achieves little of what he set out to do. The themes of sin, redemption, and superstition have been the subject of much debate in the subsequent centuries, and perhaps a reminder to us all that we are not omnipotent. This was a time when superstition and religious beliefs played a large part in the healing process, with medicine in a primitive state of development compared to today with little scientific credentials. Spiritual healers were the norm. Bloodletting was a common treatment for many ailments, and physicians had few effective medicines at their disposal, often using potions with lead or mercury, which today we know are harmful. Surgery was primitive with no anesthesia or antisepsis measures and primarily confined to amputations. In Middlemarch, published in the UK in 1871 and set in the Midlands, George Eliot introduces us to Dr. Tertius Lydgate, the new doctor in town with new ideas about medical health. Dr. Lydgate promoted prescribing based on scientific evidence at a time when doctors were still poorly regulated and probably did more harm than good with their treatments. Finally, the famous work by French writer Albert Camus, The Plague, the character Dr. Bernard Rieux treats the first plague victim in town and warns the leaders to take action to prevent spread of the disease. The progress of the plague hitting the town is described, and it is not surprising that the novel has proven of great interest to all of us today in current times of having witnessed a pandemic. So let's go to the questions. Which of the following statements is most likely to agree with? Read the question properly. Is the author most likely to agree with? Option A. The doctors in the Western literary world have been depicted to the incarnations of the Almighty themselves with divine healing powers. Option B. The doctors in the literary hemisphere have been depicted with an increasing understanding of science and medicine. Option C. The doctors in the literary domain have been presented as devious, irrational persons who cause more harm than virtue. Option D. The doctors in literary creations have been depicted as flawed characters with their own issues to face. So here, option B is the right answer. The doctors in the literary hemisphere have been depicted with an increasing understanding of science and medicine. As the passage talks about characters such as Tertius Lydgate, Dr. Bernard, and also in the first para, the author talks about characters profitably read and watched by both experienced and future directors established by men and women of letters. This gives an idea to us that he's talking about the doctors in the literary hemisphere have been depicted with an increasing understanding of science and medicine. So his so the authors actually inspired experienced and future doctors to reflect on the human conditions so ably, so as it is described by the established men and women of letters. So option B is the right answer. So question 2, what does the here again comes the vocab based question. What does the word bloodletting as used in the passage mean? As used in the passage mean. Bloodletting has two meanings. One is violent killing and wounding of persons in conflict, and the other is when you don't have adequate technology to treat people, you use primitive surgical methods to remove infected blood of a patient, and this has been stated in the passage also, as it is related with amputations. That there is no this thing and all. Surgery was primitive with no anesthesia and antisepsis measures, and primarily confined to amputations. So this proves that there has been no technological know-how in those days. So bloodletting as used in the passage refers to using primitive surgical methods to remove infected blood of a patient. Option A also could be the right answer, but in the contextual sense of the passage, it is not the right answer. We have to stick to the passage, we have to stick to what the author is conveying to you. So option A can't be the right answer. Option B and D. Option B, removal of blood corpuscles using an advanced technique which separates plasma. This is not a right answer. Option D, transfusion of blood in the patient for cure. No, no, this is not a right answer. So option C is the right answer according to the para given. Question 3. Why does the author suggest that the novel by the French writer is of much importance in the contemporary times? Option A, because in the novel the doctor treats a disease which was quite unknown and gave new understanding about its treatment. Option B, uh, because the disease of plague is uncannily similar to the current disease which had caused the pandemic. Option B could be the right answer, but let's wait. Option C, because the doctor predicts about potential extent of the disease which is similar to the one in current times. Option B and C both could be the right answer. So let us read option D also. Because the doctor is in contact with leaders which resembles current times wherein the leaders appreciated doctors in the pandemic. No, option D is completely irrelevant because it is talking about leaders, it is talking about appreciation of doctors. It is not about appreciation or contact with leaders. So option D can't be the right answer because it doesn't stick to the passage. So option D can be eliminated. Option A may, because in the novel the doctor treats a disease which was quite unknown and gave new understanding about its treatment. Yeah, this is right, but what does the question ask to you? Why does the author suggest that the novel by the French writer is of much importance in contemporary times? Here, contemporary times makes relevance. So, option A can't be the answer with regards to the question asked. So, option B, because the disease of plague is uncannily similar to the current disease which had caused the pandemic. No. Option C, because the doctor predicts about the potential extent of the disease, which is similar to the one in contemporary times. So option B and C may, we can eliminate option B because it talks about uncannily similar to the current disease. Yeah, it is uncannily similar to the current disease, but in the passage, the author also talks about how he dealt with the disease. How he told the leaders to how he told the leaders in town to prevent the spread of the disease. So option C could be the right answer. Yeah, option C is the right answer. Yeah. Question 4. Which of the following can be inferred from the passage above? This is an inference question. Go through the starting diagram of our this thing, the difference between main idea and inference. So option A, people had more belief in science than superstition in the 16th century when Dr. Faustus was written. No, this can't be the right answer. People had more belief in superstition in the 16th century when Dr. Faustus was written. This was also stated in the passage by saying that spiritual leaders were the norm. So this proves that option A can't be the right answer. Option B, doctors in the 1800s were known to be much beneficial for the general public, leading to their popularity and much appreciation in the novels of writers. So option B में doctors in 1800s, it specifies the time. It talks about 16th century but not the 1800s time. It is about 19th century. The author is talking about 16th century. The author is talking about the times, the technological know-how of surgeries and all. So option B can't be the right answer. It is somewhat irrelevant to the passage. So option C, there was basic scientific awareness about communicable diseases during the time of the French writer, which made him talk about their potential spread. Option C could be the right answer. Let's read option D also. There was an advancement in surgery with painless methods being developed in science. No, there was no advancement in surgeries with painless methods being developed in science, because it is also being stated in the passage that without this technological know-how there has been amputations as well. There was bloodletting as a common treatment. This has also been stated in the passage, was a common treatment for many ailments, and physicians had fewer effective medicines at their disposal. So option D can't be the right answer. So by eliminating it, option C, no, no. Option C could be the right answer. There was basic scientific awareness about communicable diseases during the time of the French writer, which made him talk about their potential spread. So let's go back to last question maybe. From the first para of the passage, one can conclude that. So let us read the first para of the passage. Doctors have appeared in fiction throughout history, from Dr. Faustus written in the 16th century to more recent film adaptations in the 20th and 21st centuries. The familiarity of these characters will be profitably read and watched by both experienced and future doctors who want to reflect on the human conditions, often so ably described by the established men and women of letters. So let's get back to the question now. From the first part of the passage, one can conclude that, so it is a conclusion based question. The doctors in fiction have been realistically depicted by the authors who have been doctors themselves. This can't be the option because the authors being doctors themselves has not been stated in the passage. So option A can't be the answer. Option B, fiction is much capable of profitably depicting doctors and presenting themselves as examples of superheroes. No, because it talks about superheroes. Option B can't be the answer. Option C, historical depiction of doctors in literary fiction has been quietly capable, performed by authors. Yeah, this has been stated in the first line itself. This could be the right answer. So let's see. Let's read option D as well. Fiction is not a mirror of real world situations, and therefore readers need to be wary of such works. This is completely irrelevant to the passage. Anyone could just eliminate it just by looking at it. So option D can't be the right answer. So option C is the right answer. So yeah, thank you everyone. So only one thing, you need to practice more and more of these kinds of passages. Anyway, we are here to help you at any point in time. Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.